Welcome to Esalen Live, where we chat with change agents and swim deep waters in an ongoing exploration of human potential. I'm your host, Christine Chen. As we close 2021, is living a life of liberation, freedom, and authenticity appealing to you? Today on Esalen Live, we're really excited to have Sravana Borkataky-Varma. She's with us to explore the practice of Tantra for renewed energy, perspective in 2022. Sravana is a scholar in Indian religions and related studies, a lecturer at Harvard and other institutions, including Esalen. And we are so pleased to have her with us today. Sravana, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for joining. I know you're very busy. We're so honored to learn from you today. We're talking about Tantra. Can you share with us
Mhm.
what the myth of Tantra has been in the Western world for decades now?
The biggest myth I would say is Tantra gets associated with sex or sexual practices. And even there, it is understood in this very, very limited and in a myopic fashion. And I think that is where we have the biggest and the largest leap to make. So, Tantra is about Jivana Mukti, in other words, liberation during this lifetime. Uh, the body is not rejected. The root of tantra is tan, Tan. So, in other words, it is understood as a weave. We weave something, and that is we weave ourselves and to the divine, and through this beautiful weaving, we attain liberation. And this is something that gets somewhere misunderstood, and Tantra becomes very, very sex and sexual energy related in the modern West.
If you're watching us on Esalen Live, we're with Sravana Borkataky-Varma, and she is a scholar in Indian religions. We're chatting about Tantra, the myth, the reality, the path to freedom through Tantra. If you have anything to add to the discussion, questions for Shravana, please add them. We'd also just like to know, what is your experience with freedom, with Tantra, or any of the related studies? So please float that into the chat. One of our listeners has said it's elusive. And I want to just ask you about that. So thank you, Janine, for saying that. Elusive freedom. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Is it elusive? Like,
It is beyond reach. It somehow is beyond
beyond
your
reach?
grasp. It's very
Uh,
difficult.
yes and no. So essentially, the history of Tantra is elusive. The history of Tantra is unpinnable. There is a lot to unpack. But when it comes to the practices, the philosophy, the life that one leads in this path is actually very well defined and very well attainable in this lifetime. So, for example, karma is not rejected. At the same time, the body is not a playground. So there is something very sacred in this dance that we dance with the divine and ourselves, the sacred and the profane. And the biggest thing that we work towards is to dissolve the binaries that we, literally live and breathe: man and woman, good and bad, day and night, life and death, birth and death. So we kind of try to embody the dissolving of the binary in this space.
Mm. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the word karma. I think I heard you say
Mhm.
karma. And there's such a myth about the term karma in Western culture as well. Like karma is going to come get you, but that's not really what it is. Would you share with us what the historical and cultural significance of karma is and what it actually means?
Mhm. So I use the term karma, not karma,
Kama,
but I will
kama,
speak
as in pleasure,
karma.
right?
Okay. Yes, that's right. But I will speak about karma.
That's great.
You know, it's the same thing with karma. You know, I have always said, if your dharma is right, your karma is right. So we don't have to worry about the karma if I do my deeds right. So what does Tantra, the path of Tantra, do? Does that mean I'm saying that the Vedic path does not do that? That's not what I'm saying at all. I respect the Vedic path as much as I would respect the Tantra path. In the Tantra path, what we're doing is through self sovereignty, through self, through my own physical body, through my own subtle body, through my own spiritual body, I am going to look at my dharma. What is it that I have to do? What is the purpose of my life? Why am I sent here? What are some of the duties I must perform in a very honest sense of the way? And then the karma is taken care of, and I don't have to worry about it.
Mm,
Sorry, can I just say one more thing? I didn't want to
absolutely.
interrupt you. So
Absolutely.
the reason why Tantra becomes so popular is because it is understood that we live in a time where we are so busy, we have so many things going on, and not all of us can leave everything and go and live in an ashram, for example. So what do I do as I am cooking and cleaning and driving my kids to school, going to work, or even just sitting and watching Netflix? Where does Tantra come in? Can I weave in some of these practices into my daily life?
Mm. This is sort of modern Tantra, but also with an honoring of what it really is authentically and historically. Where did
Mhm.
you come to weave this into your life? Has this always been part of your family history, or was it a recent revelation for you to weave these practices into your life?
So I was initiated at the age of 8. So I've been on this path without really disclosing my age for a very long time. So I was initiated in Kamakya. Kamakya is one of the 51 goddess seats or goddess Pita. I was initiated at the age of 8. And then my Abhishekam was at the age of about 15, 16. So I was actually I started on this path as a practitioner, and I stayed as a practitioner until I did my PhD. And it's in my PhD work that I became a scholar of my own tradition.
Oh,
And that's
beautiful.
how, yes, so I identify myself as a scholar practitioner or a practitioner scholar, depending on the space.
And is this the temple where you were initiated? Can you tell us a little story about what this picture shows?
So this is the periphery of Kamakya Temple. Kamakya Temple is in Assam, state of Assam in India, that is in northeast of India. And this is a temple where no photography is allowed inside the temple. So this is in the periphery, still within the temple compound, but it's in the periphery. That's another beautiful picture you have there. The unique feature of Kamakya is the yoni. It was believed to have fallen there. So the Kamakya temple is really known for its fertility rituals as well as rituals that honor and respect bodily fluids, more so the fluids of the goddess Kamakya, who is also known as Tripura Sundari, and so many other names like Shodashi and Raja Rajeshwari and so forth.
Well, let's back up a little bit. First of all, if you're just joining us on Esalen Life, please share with us your perception or your practice of Tantra, what your exposure to it has been. And if anything that Shravana is saying is really resonating with you, supporting you, sparking curiosity, please send her a little bit of love in the chat, a heart emoji, a smiley face emoji, anything that helps support the fact that this particular scholar is joining us today and sharing her expertise with us. We would really appreciate it. You mentioned that this particular temple where you got your initiation into these Tantra practices is where the yoni has said to have fallen. Can you really explain what that
Mhm,
means with relationship to the womb, to male, female,
mhm.
to fertility, to
Mhm.
perpetuating the species? Can you share with us more about that?
Absolutely. So this story goes back in time when Sati, there's the story between Shiva and Sati, and Sati jumps into the fire, and Shiva is upset, and he does the tandap, the dance with her body, and as he dances with with Sati's body, her body splits into 51 parts, and these 51 parts fall in different parts of the subcontinent, from Pakistan to Bangladesh to Sri Lanka, but a majority are in India. And so this is where the yoni fell. Now, in the Tantra path, one of the large, as I said, one of the biggest thing we focus on is on transcending the binaries. So we really talk about the yoni in the context of not just a physical organ. Of course, it is a physical organ, extremely important, is life force, but also what does it mean in a subtle body? There are a lot of times I've had, people who identify themselves as men, they would say that I don't have a womb. Or I would have women who would maybe had a hysterectomy, and they would say, my womb was taken away, so I don't have a womb. And in Tantra, the biggest thing that we talk about is when we talk about the womb, when we talk about yoni, when we talk about the lingam, when we talk about the masculine and the feminine, is it just contained to an organ, or there is a lot more in our subtle body that we need to explore and understand? So that's kind of what karma care really becomes to be known as.
Can you share what this photo is demonstrating? It is something to do with exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, this picture was taken in 2019 in Kamakya in the Ambubachi Mela. So Ambubachi Mela, there are about 300, 400,000 people who attend this 3-day festival. This is celebrating the menstruation of the goddess Kamakya. It is considered to be a very potent time in the tradition. And so this was a picture. I was doing field work in 2019, so somebody took a picture of me in the space that I call home. This is where I was initiated at a very young age and continue to visit. So this is from
Mm,
2019.
Thank you for sharing that beautiful photo. Would you also share? I know that Tantra is so deep and so extensive that it requires time to practice, but I think there's a small part maybe that you can share with us today that you wanted us to experience just a little bit of it. Would you mind?
No, absolutely. But before I do that, this is exactly what we are trying to, kind of demystify. That it does not take a lot of time.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is. The Tantra path is for people like you and me and all of us who lead a very busy, full life with 100 other things. So let's kind of do this for the next maybe 3-4 minutes. Um, Essentially, if you're watching us at this time, or if you're watching us later, if you would just, situate yourself by sitting straight, not hyperextending the spine, but kind of making sure that we're aligned in an axis where we are aligned to the universe above us and the earth below us, and we are in the central axis. At this point, I would want you to let us just take a few simple breaths. We all breathe. We breathe all the time, but we don't recognize that we breathe. So let's just take 5 very gentle breaths. So breathe in and breathe out. In and out. In and and out. Breathe in and out. And finally, breathe in and breathe out. So visualize a ray of light that enters to us through the crown, through the Sahasrara chakra, through the crown of our head. And this light is the life force. And while we came through the divine light, we entered into a womb. Today, what we will visualize is the divine, however you define the divine. That divine energy is entering in a cellular form, not a completely grown up fashion, but just in a molecular, cellular form, as a bindu, as a drop, as a droplet. So visualize one drop that falls from the universe, from the cosmos. It enters through our arm and drops gently, ever so gently, through the central axis into our Mula Bandha. And it resides somewhere between the Swadhisthana, which is 3 fingers down the belly button, also known as the Dantian in some traditions, and the Mula Bandha. If you've heard of Kundalini, that is where the Kundalini sits and resides. You've just dropped into that space. So for the next few moments, let's just experience how we feel, irrespective of our gender identity, how we feel if we are giving birth, life to the divine within us in our womb. So let's just take a few moments here to do that. And like we go through a term of pregnancy, like we go through the fetus growing inside of us, and we cultivate a relationship, we nourish the fetus, we speak to the fetus, we feed, we take care, we love, we protect. The same way this tradition allows for us in the next 10 months to develop, to grow this beautiful divine within us, and this practice, when done over time, really helps us transcend the binary between the sacred and the profane, between the divine and us, and we become one with the divine as the divine becomes one with us. With this, I would like to close this practice. Just if you have let the divine droplet enter, just cup the belly below in the Swadhisthana around your belly button. Just use your palms to cup it and just breathe in and gently open your eyes when you're ready.
Shravana, thank you so much. I know that some of you stayed to participate in that with us. If it resonated with you, no matter how you are feeling in this moment, we'll all probably have a different reaction to that. Please show your appreciation for Shravana's offering at this moment. Give her a little love, a thumbs up just for the offering and spending time showing us and guiding us through that. Thank you so much, Shravana.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know that some of this will be part of the workshop that you will be
Mhm.
co-leading at Esalen. And this is really, from what I understand, the first time that we are doing traditional historical Tantra as a workshop at Esalen. Is that correct?
That is correct. This is a signature series that we are proposing to host in Esalen. The first one is in January, followed by April. We have from 15th to 18th, in August 12th to 15th, and then November 11th to 14th. So what I just did in terms of the divine enters and we nourish, we take care of the divine inside of us for the complete fruition. This workshop, the series is designed to go through the entire year of 2022, beginning from January, ending in November. So we're going to go through this cycle and experience what it means to practice Tantra as someone, living a full life in this world with all kinds of challenges and the joys that we experience in our lives.
I love the way that you just said that. And even just the very beginning part of that practice, even if you forget everything else that happened during that practice, that initial part of just sitting up tall and sitting into your full self just is a beautiful moment. So I just wanted to share that was something I experienced, and I've maybe sat up tall a million times.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much.
Shravana. Thanks to everyone
Thank
for
you.
joining us on Esalen Live. We hope you're able to attend one of the series that Shravana will be co-leading or just visit us at any point on Esalen. Get inspired, esalen.org, lots of resources for you. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Take good care.